Hey everybody, how you doing? Time for another video. So, in this video I'm talking to you guys about the damned. So, to start off, the damned is a rather broad category, and it's kind of difficult to lump everything together because a lot of them have similarities to other things. Um, but the best way I can describe it is corrupt spiritual beings. So let's start off with what is corruption, because I know you know plenty about spiritual beings at this point because you're watching all of my videos. Yay! So what is corruption? In my, I guess my definition of corruption is there is a divine creator, in my personal belief, that made the universe. Um, his will is good. He knows what is good. He knows what will make this universe work. Um, and that's why the spiritual beings exist, to carry out his will and to keep law. Law. Any opposition to his will or to his law results in corruption. For example, in a religious context, even though this is not a religious video, um, when Adam and Eve defy God by doing the thing he asked them not to do, their bodies are flawed. They are now broken beings and they will eventually die. Personally, I think it's a good thing. But then again, it also has to deal with the after effects, and maybe that is death now as a painful thing. Who knows? Um, but so that's what I think corruption is. Opposition to what is good. Or what is divine will. There you go. Alright, so the damned in that sense are spiritual beings who have now opposed the Creator. These things include, but are not limited to, devils. Devils are high cosmological beings who are now opposite the Creator. Okay? Demons are lower order spiritual beings, such as spirits of the earth, spirits of air, things like that, that are now opposite the divine order. Spirits of the dead. In fact, most demons that we deal with are dead beings who have become so corrupt and so focused on one aspect of sin or one aspect of weakness, which is what I think sin really is, just weakness in ourselves, that they become tortured and corrupted by it, and now there's something that is evil and that is inherently destructive in their own sense. These things are numerous. In fact, I have a book. Hold up. Love that shoulder. This book, Field Guide to Demons and Other Fallen Angels, yada yada. It's from Carol K. Mack and Diana Mack. They're sisters. It's pretty good on what it says, and it kind of gives you like a good forefront to all the demonic world or subversive spirit world. I like that word better. Subversive spirit. Let's use that. Um, so, as these are all spiritual beings, they're all affected by cold iron and magic, and but not all magic, of course. Only good magic. Well, not necessarily good magic, but divinely assumed magic. Blessings, um, benediction from angels, from all kinds of spirits. Um, these things, these subversive spirits, all that they have left is what they are focused on. So let me just bring you through an example of a subversive spirit, okay? Um, so there was this minister, I think he was from Michigan, um, moved to a abbey or church. I'm not a Catholic, I'm sorry. Um, moved to a church in Boston, I think it was. I'm not sure. Anyway, so he's doing his thing, and eventually starts to hear this voice in his head. Whether that was an actual demon or him psychologically, I don't know. But so the voice in his head keeps saying, rape this girl, rape this girl, rape this girl. And he does. And so all this stuff starts happening, starts to like rape this girl or whatever. She's really young, she doesn't tell anyone about it. he just starts doing it to like everybody in the freaking congregation. Sorry for laughing. It's just wow. Um, and so eventually he is I forget the exact nature of his death, but he dies. Um, and so his spirit remains. His spirit, instead of being bound to an anchor, is bound on this vice, this sin. And the sin there is, I guess, lust, or his weakness towards sex. He becomes so enamored with it that he feeds off of it. It's like his drug, and he needs more of it. So his spirit, now this corrupted, strange thing, is being pulled apart by itself. It's literally creating its own hell. And he goes after, his spirit goes after women, tries to attack them, tries to rape them, choke them, anything that it can. It is in a constant state of sin, and all it wants to do is have more of it. Um, that is kind of how a lot of spirits come to be. Even the ones that are previously cosmological spirit, like non-human, those things, the non-human spirits, are quite possibly more destructive and more crazy because they've gotten a taste of humanity. They've had a flavor of it, and now they're focusing on one aspect of it, and that's a physical vice. And it's like it becomes everything to them. They become super greedy, or they become whatever. They're torturers. They love to torture humanity, and they will try to do everything in their power to harm it. Um, so how do these things hurt people? Um, well, as spiritual beings, and as all spiritual beings, they can create an energy body. This energy body is capable of doing things, just as the energy in our bodies is capable of moving our limbs. We get energy from food, but I mean like the energy in our central nervous system is what makes me do that. They have energy and they can move things. They can force things into our head. Don't get your mind out of the gutter right now. They can enter our minds, make us think certain things. They can. The most common thing is called atmosphere. That's when a ghost produces a mental, I guess, like field that they're connected to. That kind of makes you think in the same mindset, or kind of makes you tempted almost in the same mindset as they are. And that can be the most destructive thing of all, because that has caused so many murders since Cain and Abel, like since the dawn. Um, it's caused so many things to happen. And while atmosphere is quite possibly the most non-focused, they also have power over things, especially the ones that were previously otherwise not human. They retain a great deal of their power. For example, Samael still has power over fire. Many of them are still capable of doing things that are within their sphere of influence. And the human things, or the human souls that are now corrupt and destroyed, are capable of inflicting things that they were inflicted upon in life. For example, a drowned boy, in the case of a ghost, can often cause this sort of etheric drowning in other people, where you will literally feel your lungs start to fill up with water, and it feels like you're drowning, but you're not really drowning. Um, Although they can still cause you to die. They can do similar things to that, but the most common thing is poltergeist activity, whereby they manifest in this energetic form, and then almost like telekinesis, they will have this energy form latch onto you and then try to hurt you in any way. Whether that be choking you, scratching is a very common one, rape, all kinds of things. None of them are good. We have specific um, names for every single type of spirit and every single thing it can do, but just know that they're all dangerous. They can all be hurt by mystical objects, cold iron. You can find almost any spiritual being in books. Books are the best asset you have towards investigation. There are tons of different types of spirits. Some of them appear human, some of them appear otherwise. There are spirits that look like, or there are these demonic spirits that look like dogs. We often call them Barghest or hellhounds. which are not always evil, but most of the time they are. Um, they're capable of taking on many forms, and one of their most often talked about things that they can possess. I'll get into this in the next video because that's actually about the possessed. But possession is similar to how we use magic with energy. In the case of the girl who's a healer I told you about before, um, she asks for Raphael's help. So she's literally allowing a being to enter her in some way, at least in an energetic sense, fill her with power, and then use it. This is actually voluntary possession is more common than involuntary possession. Cool fact. Um, but so possession is when an energetic being, or even a being that is not made of energy, even if it's made of like consciousness, enters enters your body, and begins to use it. During this process, a lot of people, well, the best way to describe the process is kind of like being um, attacked by like almost like a snake. Um, it's a four-part process. The first part is obsession or haunting. Um, just haunting really is the best way to describe it. In this case, the spiritual being is around you and is trying to influence the things around you, so it'll make things levitate, cause your bed to jump, just like in the movie The Exorcist. Um, and in this stage, what it's trying to do, and what the ultimate goal of possession is, aside from actually entering you, is breaking down your free will. Your free will is like a chain of armor, and your if you give in to temptation, if you give in to sin, it's like a chink in the armor, and then the demon can slither its way in. So the next part is obsession. Now, in a haunting, it can be passed on pretty easily. All it takes is just the right know-how, or an anti-possession symbol or whatever. In demonic obsession, the being is now attached to you. Not necessarily inside of you, but it's around you, it's coiling around you like a snake, and it has its eyes on you. Bear none. The third part is entering. So, in the snake metaphor, the snake is slithering around you in the haunting stage. In the obsession stage, it's wrapping itself around you. In the entering phase, it is literally going down your throat. It is entering you. It is starting to. It often gives people convulsive fits because there's such a huge surge of energy in the process. Um, and it can be very dangerous. It can actually cause epileptic seizures. It can cause vomiting. Um, it's powerful stuff. During that stage, the demon and the human are still separate beings. They are, with the human with all of its various levels, is now separate from the demon that is entering them. It's kind of fighting that human for control of this body. And demons possess bodies for a number of reasons. It's some think that it's, like only to be used on this plane of existence, like so that they can have a body to use in this plane of existence. And while that can be the case, it's not always. Like a lot of like in the show Supernatural, which may I just say, as a hunter, I've often been said, "Oh, you just watch Supernatural all too often." No, I don't. Okay. In the same way that Titanic is a fictional account of a real event, Supernatural in the most vague of sense, sorry, is a fictional account of a somewhat real thing. Supernatural is like so, not like wrong, but it's so far from reality that it really can't even be considered it. No more than like ER can be considered like an actual example of what goes on in an emergency room. Like, they got the thing that hunters exist somewhat right, but they don't exactly work like that, and a lot of them are not, backwoods hillbillies. A lot of them are actually very important people, and, whatever. Anyway, so these demons in the entering stage are now fighting for will of the body. This is often the stage that lasts the longest. Hauntings usually last like maybe a month. Obsession lasts for a pretty long time, and then entering is the part that's the most famous. It's when the demon will actually start to enter the body, and in this stage, there are times when the human will be lucid, times that he will be under possession. This is the time that most often exorcisms happen in because people don't catch it early enough. It's just like a disease. It's entering you. If you can get it quick, you're good. If it's too late, then it's too late. Um, if the exorcism happens at this point, it's often very violent. An exorcism is really just a magical ritual to push the thing out. Um, During obsession, that's somewhat easier. In possession or in entering, it is violent. It's never fun for anyone, and it's pretty rough. So the last stage in possession, and this is the stage that is rarely accounted for, but it's probably most common, which is really sad, is completion or full possession. So during entering, the human and the demon are fighting. In full or complete possession, no single entity existed as it does previously. It is now one being. It is impossible to describe this previous being without the other. Okay? So now I'm going to get more into possession in the next video. But I hope you guys like that. Rate, comment, subscribe, and please ask me all the kind of questions you want. Alright? Happy hunting.